guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is December 15th, 2017. Happy Bill of Rights anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, 226 years of the Bill of Rights.
Yay, Bill of Rights. I know my rights.
Michelle wanted to read them.
Leah didn't want to read them.
You know, I doubt many people actually read the Constitution. Our mom actually made us several times. She said,
we've got videos
you must read it. It's so funny. Everybody wants to be constitutional. You know, tidbit of history here. Thomas Jefferson, our founding fathers, believed that all the rules that you should ever have to follow,
yes,
should be memorizable.
Yes,
you should know them all.
Not just rules. We're talking about laws here.
That's what I meant.
Well,
rule of law.
Okay, but rules are a little bit different than laws.
This is new. I've never seen that.
It is new. It's secondhand store new.
It's interesting.
It's nice. It's
polka dotty.
It expands. It's kind of
Whoa,
like
it's like an accordion shirt.
Thank you. It is.
Ring, ding, 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 ding.
According to the shirt. All right.
So so anyways, sorry, you know my head. You know my brain. One thing, I got so many rabbits, so many trails. We can't stop.
There are rabbits inside of Leah's head.
Donald Trump got rid of a bunch of regulations for, I guess,
like the EPA and just different.
Like for every one, he got rid of 22.
I love it.
And when it comes to the reason the tax code and things are unconstitutional, when we say unconstitutional,
right,
what we mean is the founders' intention for our government.
Correct.
It's not confined to the words within the Constitution.
Right.
It's surrounded in this bed of what our founders' intentions. So you actually have to read their writings. You have to read the Federalist Papers, which explain
the foundation
of our government.
Court judges and lawyers should be very well versed, especially the Supreme Courts of our states and our federal government need to know what the original intent, and that is the phrase that we love around here at Resistance Chicks, what the original intent was of the writers so that they may interpret that original intent. It is not the job of any Supreme Court or justice of any state or federal court to write or make law or make a precedence.
Right.
Their job is only, they are supposed to be the smallest branch of the government. Right now, they're one of the biggest.
Absolutely.
To create law. They should not actually create law at all. They just interpret the original intent of the writers of these documents.
Exactly. What people don't understand is when even the Republicans who were voting for Donald Trump because they wanted to be able to make a Supreme Court pick, we said this from the very beginning. It's playing a game. It's hypocritical, but it will always come back to bite you. It's like, you know, being a snake handler and with like poisonous snakes. You're always going to, it's like being Steve Irwin, man. Oh, crikey.
Yeah, but he died, man.
I know. You can't play with animals. And so,
well, you can play with animals. You can't play with wild, deadly ones.
And so the judiciary was supposed to be, especially the Supreme Court, it was supposed to be very, very minimal. Very minimal. It was never, ever, ever. And if you read our founders' writings, you will find they said the judiciary branch cannot be used to make law.
And yet it is today being used to make law. So they took their job to interpret these founding fathers and documents and things like that, and then they twisted it and used it for their own power.
Most controversial laws have been
passed by the Supreme Court.
Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
And then we've got Obamacare. We've got gay marriage.
That's a big one.
These things are huge.
Yep.
And the idea of a law is that we are people, right? We the people. We the people decide what laws we want.
Right.
And so when you have the Supreme Court making law, these people are not elected. And the reason the Congress is supposed to make law, you have your Congress in your state.
Right.
You have your federal Congress, and the state is actually supposed to do most of your everyday lives. You should actually be more in tune and in touch with your state legislators, but we're not, because everything is federal. It's way out of balance. And so we constantly like to bring the truth, because eventually enough people are going to wake up to this and bring it up. Is that something you wanted to bring up on the big screen for people? Why don't you do that? Because they can't see behind me.
Okay.
As part of your deal.
I have something else set up, Nigel, but we're not going to play him now.
We'll play him next.
On behalf of the group of Europe of Freedom and...
Here we go.
Nigel.
Sorry, guys. Bear with me here.
Happy Friday, everyone, by the way.
Welcome. We are happy to have you guys here. All right, so this is from the Bill of Rights Institute. They're actually a really awesome website. I've been here a few times.
So I wanted to, why we have this picture up.
Okay.
One of the things, I'm always going to go back to Roy Moore because I'm still praying. I'm praying all day that there be justice to be done. I know Donald Trump said just concede already today. I don't think he would have conceded in this kind of hotly contested debacle of an election.
What in the world?
Now the phone is ringing. We used to not get phone calls, and now we do. Okay.
Here we go. Goodbye. Hello.
Hello. Goodbye.
Hello. Goodbye. Oh, I need to exit this. Hang on. Keep going.
So, anyways, Roy Moore, they played these horrible ads, and not only did they play horrible ads calling him a racist, there was people all over the mainstream media saying Roy Moore is a racist because he said the last time the country was great was when it had slavery.
But that's not what he meant.
That's not what he meant. And so he has, as some people say, open mouth disease, open
mouth, insert foot.
He and his wife are normal people.
Yes, they are.
So they don't craft their answers
right
in a way that people can, take as some sort of soundbite and play over and over again like Hillary Clinton, right? So when he said, he was asked, when do you think the country is great again? He said, like,
great before,
great
not again.
Great. When was
the country
last great? Thank you for correcting me. He said like in the mid 1860s or 1800s, and he goes, I know we had slavery, but families were tighter, and the people believed in God.
And what that statement meant, for anybody with half a brain can understand what he was saying, is I know we had something awful that should not have been. Okay,
I know.
But we had families that loved each other, and anybody that is a normal human being can understand what he meant there. But of course, the left is going to twist that.
Because, that would mean that our founding fathers, America wasn't great then.
Right.
That they didn't create the greatest government. So you have to throw out everything.
And that's what they want to do. That is their goal, to throw out everything.
It's a communist Marxism mentality, and they believe that if they say things long enough and loud enough that they will convince enough people, which is true.
And it does happen. That's how we have gotten where we are right now.
Yeah.
All right, so to this picture.
To the picture.
We have, this is kind of, when I look at these kinds of pictures, I've seen reenactments. I've been to some of these buildings where these men stood, and it is very hallowed ground.
It's like
this was a big
time, man.
deal. These men were hashing out the very foundations of our government, and I have to tell you, most of them were not doing it out of selfish gain or selfish ambition. They realized the weight of what they were doing, what they were putting into writing, and it had to be righteous before God, because if it was not, it would fall and it would crumble. All right, so there are a couple of these that I wanted to kind of go over here. It says the first 10 amendments to the Constitution make up the Bill of Rights. Maybe people don't know. There might be viewers that do not know. Written by James Madison in response to calls from several states for greater constitutional protection for individual liberties, the Bill of Rights lists specific prohibitions on the governmental power. That's what it's supposed to be, to limit. And that's why they want to get rid of it.
I know.
The Virginia Declaration of Rights, written by George Mason, strongly influenced Madison. One of the many points of contention between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists was the Constitution's lack of a Bill of Rights that would place specific limits on government power. Federalists argued that the Constitution did not need a Bill of Rights because the people and the states kept any powers not given to the federal government, which makes a lot of sense.
It should be that way.
Anti-Federalists held that a Bill of Rights was necessary to safeguard individual liberty. So in essence, they were kind of both right.
They're both on the same exact page.
Right. So Madison, then a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, went through the Constitution itself, making changes where he thought most appropriate, but several representatives, led by Rodgers Sherman, objected that Congress had no authority to change the wording of the Constitution itself. Therefore, Madison's changes were presented as a list of amendments. All right, so let's get down to what they are. Amendment 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That is why they are attacking it so hard with like Antifa. Okay, because that very last line right there, to petition the government for a redress of grievances, if they can get rid of our freedom of speech to speak out against, let's say it's homosexuality, let's say it's, Muslims. If they can take away our freedom of speech there, then they can throw out the entire First Amendment, and we can no longer.
And you only have a right to peacefully assemble,
right? And
you
they
do
are not
have
peaceful.
a right to assemble,
right?
Not peacefully.
This is one of my favorites. A well-regulated militia.
Being necessary to the security of a free state.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, a lot of people want to throw out the Second Amendment because they're like, well, we don't need a militia anymore. Honey, I got news for you. That's exactly why we need a militia.
Only communists don't need a militia.
You always, always, always need a well-regulated militia. Amendment 3, no soldier shall in the time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
That was really important then because they were taking over people's houses and things like that. So, and we see that happening across the world. I mean...
Right. The right of the people, this is Amendment 4, to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
This is really particular because a lot of things are happening right now with the NSA.
Yes.
That violate the Fourth Amendment.
They had no idea the technology that we would have
they would be rolling over in their graves.
The spying that they are doing, just because it's not actually going into someone's house physically, they think they can get away with it.
So what they have done, I believe, to Michael Flynn was an unreasonable search of his, cell phone.
Right.
And spying.
Yes.
And with that phony dossier, that's how they got the wiretaps. So
exactly. All right. So the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
So we've seen a lot of seizures with police officers taking money at traffic stops and stuff. Like that poor guy, he was pulled over with like his whole life savings, and the police told him it was illegal to carry that much money, so they took it.
And that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
Had to get like representatives, I think congressmen, to like get his money back.
That's insanity.
Yeah, and another thing with this, like I kind of put libel into this because like what they've done to Roy Moore in my case.
Yes.
And I believe that our government officials have done this, like representatives have denied him due process of law.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing with this whole Me Too hashtag thing. People are not being tried before a jury of their peers.
They're actually being tried by only their peers. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like in the court of public opinion. And that's what's happening. All right. So the Sixth Amendment. You want to read that one?
No, go ahead.
In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense.
Again, I really think it's important to put these Bill of Rights into
what
we're seeing today. So again, I'm going to bring up the whole Me Too.
Do it.
You can't have, you cannot have anonymous accusations.
Right.
This is unconstitutional.
You have to be able to face your accuser.
And so none of us have a right to believe any anonymous sources at all. It's wrong. It's wrong to be accused. It's unconstitutional, and James Madison knew this, and our original founding fathers, they signed this because they felt like that was really important, because you can't, what they were having were monkey trials, with the King of England, with no witnesses, being able to face your accusers at face to face and say, no, this didn't happen.
Right.
And that's what didn't happen with Roy Moore, and that's what grieved my spirit so much, because he wasn't given a trial by his peers and things like that.
He was literally, just tried and hung.
Even in the media, the media has a responsibility to abide by the Constitution.
Right.
So if they're going to bring forth witnesses for the offense, for the prosecution, then they also have to bring forth the witnesses, and they were there.
Yep.
They were character witnesses. There was a woman who said no, that Nelson lady did not even work there.
Right.
If she didn't work there, that throws out her whole thing, and it just really busts the whole narrative.
Right.
But they didn't put any witnesses on the stand in the defense at all whatsoever, and so he lost that. He lost the race because of unconstitutional actions by the media.
Right. I agree. All right. So let's go to the Seventh Amendment. Sorry, I lost it here. 5, 6. There we are.
7.
In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. I think that one is pretty straightforward, speaks for itself. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. That speaks for itself as well. The Ninth Amendment, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
Right.
All right, Amendment 10, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. That one is really, really, really powerful. I think that's one of the most important amendments that we do not utilize, that we do not talk about very much.
There is a beautiful site. They're called the 10th Amendment Center. I'm going to see, they have a cool video that I want to bring up for you guys. And actually, if I bring it up, it'd actually be cooler for Michelle to play it for you. See if I can find the video here. Let me go to YouTube. So they did put out an article, The Bill of Rights Day is every day. Today is the Bill of Rights Day, the 226th anniversary of the ratification of the Bill of Rights on December 15th, 1791. While we're always glad to see people commemorating this important day, the unfortunate truth is that the Bill of Rights, actually the entire Constitution, is routinely ignored and attacked nearly every day of the year.
True.
Our founders would greatly refer to written constitutions as parchment barriers. They knew as students of history that governments can't be trusted to follow the rules given them. Have we seen that? The key point is this: a free society doesn't just happen. It has to be deliberately defended.
Right.
As the old saying goes, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. That's why we believe the best way to celebrate the Bill of Rights Day is to help teach people how to defend the Constitution without relying on the government to limit its own power. On June 8, 1789, James Madison addressed the House of Representatives and introduced a proposed Bill of Rights to the Constitution. Just over a year earlier, Madison wrote another extremely important document. In Federalist number 46, he provided us a 4-step strategy on how to stop federal programs. Exactly.
I love it.
And I'm going to play the video here because they have, if it is a video, because I love their videos if I can come up with just writing. All right, so we're going to read. Sorry, I'm not as cool.
Let's go through these 4 steps because we need to go through them.
Writing in Federalist number 46, James Madison provided a 4-step strategy. Here's what he had to say in the influence of the state and the federal governments compared. Should an unwarrantable measure of the federal government be unpopular in particular states, which would seldom fail to be the case, or even a warrantable measure be so, which may sometimes be the case, the means of opposition to it are powerful and at hand. This disquietude of the people, their repugnance and perhaps refusal to cooperate with officers of the Union, the frowns of the executive magistrate of the state, the embarrassment created by legislative devices which would often be added on such occasions would oppose in any state very serious impediments, and were the sentiments of several adjoining states happened to be in union, would present obstructions which the federal government would hardly be willing to encounter. Meaning, translation, if all the states come together on something, the federal government won't be able to stand against them.
Right, but you would think that all the states coming together would be the federal government.
But it's not the truth. All right, in short, I told you that. Okay. All right, they are. Number 1, the disquietude of the people. Madison expected the people would throw a fit when the feds usurped power, even using the word repugnance to describe their displeasure. That leads to the next step. Number 2, Repugnance and refusal to cooperate with the officers of the Union. Non-compliance. The #1 dictionary of the time defined repugnance as repudiate. I'm not saying that right. Repugnance.
No, it's just repugnance. It's repugnance.
As disobedience, not obsequious. Compliant, not compliant. Non-compliant. If you want to stop the federal government, you have to disobey them. Madison also just suggested that people would perhaps directly refuse to cooperate with federal agents. And we see this in the Bundy case, right? This is an approach we preach here every day at the 10th Amendment Center. James Madison apparently knew what we know today. The feds rely on cooperation from state and local governments as well as individuals.
They have
when enough people refuse to comply, they simply can't enforce their so-called laws.
So I want to put this down to something maybe that people can understand about kind of the federal agents that have come against farms and raw milk. They have to get the sheriff, your local sheriff, to come and enforce these kind of takeovers and seizures. And without your sheriff, so if you can get your sheriff, let's say you have a farm and the FDA comes in and they're trying to do a search or do a seizure or something like that, they have to have your local sheriff with them in order to pursue you.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to know your local law enforcement and to have them on your side and not on the side of the FDA who shouldn't even exist.
Well, we're seeing this right now with ICE. The ICE officials having trouble enforcing the law with
because they
sanctuary
need,
states.
They need those local authorities.
So we can use that actually in the favor of pro-Constitution. So I'm going to take a break here from...
hey, there's so what?
Hey, so... What? From reading those 4 steps because I want to keep your attention and play this 1-minute clip on the 10th Amendment in one lesson.
Right.
Okay. Volume.
The 10th Amendment is what's known as a rule of construction. This is a legal phrase the framers were quite familiar with. It's basically a set of instructions on how to read the entire Constitution. To understand this, first let's review the text of the 10th. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. As a rule of construction, we're told 2 primary things. 1. The federal government is only authorized to exercise those powers delegated to it in the Constitution, and nothing more. 2. If something isn't delegated to the federal government, and isn't expressly prohibited to the states, then the people of each state get to determine whether or not they want to deal with something and how.
Yep. You want that marijuana?
Thomas Jefferson called this the foundation of the Constitution. And if you apply these 2 rules to anything and everything done or proposed to be done by the federal government, your foundation will be strong.
Just like the Bible, there's only 2. All the 10 commandments can be summed up in 2. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, love your neighbor yourself.
I love it. So also, while we're kind of on this subject, the Bureau of Land Management has really messed over the Bundys. And I know that somebody had just brought that up in the chat. And Mark Mucci had sent me a document that I have not had a chance to read. And hopefully I can go over it. But apparently it's really, really important.
Patriot Gallery has said that there is a whistleblower coming out within the FBI saying all the different things that they've done wrong.
Right.
I want to get you that information. I don't have it on hand right now.
So maybe I'm thinking Monday because we're not going to go live tomorrow. And then Sunday is the European Day. But let's look to delve into that a little bit more on Monday.
All right. So back to the Federalist Paper number 46. All right. The frowns of the executive magistrate of the state. Here Madison envisions governors formally protesting federal actions. This not only raises public awareness, executive leadership will also lead to the next step, legislative action. Number 4, legislative devices, which would often be added on such occasions. Madison keeps this open-ended, and in the years soon after, which they cover later, we learned that both he and Jefferson applied this step. Madison also told us that if several adjoining states would do the same, it would be an effective tool to stop federal acts. So I can tell you that the 10th Amendment Center really wants to get together. There's a convention of states. They want to, I'm not sure if the 10th Amendment Center is as much into that. I get my my people mixed up. But there's a group of people called the Convention of States. Mm-hmm. They want to meet together to ratify the Constitution. I'm not sure that's a great idea. We could really mess it up. But I do think that somehow we have to get back to constitutional government.
I agree.
I just think we have to hold people to a greater,
accountability.
Greater accountability. So, bottom line is, you're not supposed to wait 2 or 4 years for some new politician to get in office to give you permission to be free.
Right.
You're not supposed to wait 2 or 4 or 6 years for some federal court to tell you, okay, you be free now. You're supposed to stand up, resist, refuse to comply, and nullify unconstitutional federal acts as soon as they happen. And that resistance needs to be your first response, not your last. Madison was far from alone in advocating this approach. In fact, many other prominent founders utilized this strategy in word and in deed. One of our favorite, John Quincy Adams, John Adams' son, he defied the Congress and the gag order several times. He found a way around it.
Right.
So what we have here, we have the resistance. We have Hillary Clinton's. And what's so funny is that we've been watching Alex Jones, right? And he would always say, you are the resistance. So we came up with our name, Resistance Chicks.
Right.
And now I got all these people on Twitter saying, why are you calling yourself the Resistance Chicks? Republicans and conservatives and people on the right are going to think that you're like pro-Hillary. I'm like, not fair.
You know what, though? I believe it's the Lord.
I do, too.
I think that he kind of gave us this underhanded name to get people to come in and like, oh, resistance. We're on your side. And we're like,
they're all, like, I get people laughing at us like, oh, my gosh, you're so funny. Why are you using the term resistance? I'm like, well, because actually the Federal Reserve Act was created in 1913, way before Trump was elected.
Yeah.
And I've been resisting the paper dollar for
We've been resisting the deep state. We've been resisting the globalists. I'm sorry, what are you resisting? Are you resisting anything important that's actually going to change our lives? Because I don't think so. Are you
resisting anything unconstitutional? I'm resisting unconstitutional acts. I'm resisting forced vaccinations. I'm resisting Monsanto. I'm resisting GMOs and factory. There's a lot to resist here.
I'm resisting the FBI and the CIA, and they can come and get me if they want.
All right. So, anyways, we do need to bring down how many laws there are to follow. You should be able to. They should
all be so small,
right,
that we should know them. We should be able to memorize them.
Exactly, all of them.
So, happy Bill of Rights anniversary to you guys today. Yes. We haven't broken down the Bill of Rights on here before. I don't think ever. So, I thought that obviously today would be the good day to do that. So, what do we have next?
All right, so top news today is Lisa Bloom. Now, Lisa Bloom's mama is Gloria Aldrich. Wherever you see these two women, they are ambulance chasers. They'll break your knee and then sue someone else for you.
Yes.
All right. And so attorney Lisa Bloom sought to line up paydays for women accusing Trump of sexual misconduct.
Wow.
Big ones, like 750 bangaroos.
And they're like donors. There are donors that are donating to this payout.
Legal powerhouse Lisa Bloom tried to line up big paydays for women who were willing to accuse President Trump of sexual misconduct during the final months of last year's election, according to an explosive report. And actually, Sean Hannity, he likes to do this tick-tock, 2 hours, 4 hours or something. And then this was his story. Boom! All right. The Hill reported Friday that Bloom worked with campaign donors and tabloid media outlets to arrange compensation for alleged victims and a commission for herself. She has like 33%, man.
33% of 700,000, man.
Yeah, it's not bad for a day's work.
No.
Offering to sell their stories. In one case, Bloom reportedly arranged for a donor to pay off one Trump accuser's mortgage.
Wow.
And attempted to score a 6-figure payment for another woman. The former ultimately declined to come forward after being offered $750,000. Man. Jill Harth accused President Trump of groping her. She says, I consider myself lucky to have had Lisa Bloom by my side after my old lawsuit resurfaced. The Hill cited contract documents, emails, and text messages it obtained, including an exchange of texts between one woman and Bloom that referred to pro-Hillary Clinton political action committees. Bloom, who is the daughter of Gloria Aldrich, and like her mama, specializes in representing women in sexual harassment cases.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do a disservice to anybody who's ever
actually been sexually assaulted.
Yeah. Worked for 4 women who were considering accusing Trump. 2 went public and 2 declined. Bloom did not immediately respond to requests for comment from Fox News. In a statement to The Hill, Bloom acknowledged trying to get her clients paid, but said the payments were to help the women stay safe. And, you know, in some cases, relocate because your name, people wouldn't be able to find you in the United States once you've gone national.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
Seriously. Donors reached out to my firm directly to help some of the women I represent. I'm sure they did. Bloom, who was also represented accused sexual harasser. Remember when she was representing Harvey Weinstein?
Yes. Isn't it Weinstein?
Weinstein, whatever. And she represents the women who.
But she only did it briefly, and then she backed out because she got too chicken.
Who accused Bill Cosby and Bill O'Reilly. Now, see, that throws. Unfortunately, don't ever get this woman to represent you, because if you really have an accusation, I'm not going to believe you.
Right.
I am not going to believe you. And you know what? I actually kind of believe the Bill Clinton accusers and the Bill O'Reilly and the. What's up with the name Bill?
I don't know.
And Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby.
Maybe
Bill
if they
Clinton,
went by William,
might be better. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, but. The fact that, you know, this chick is representing them, I got to throw it out. It's kind of like a hung jury, or
I don't know though, and it's kind of a
tampered evidence, in my opinion.
So here's the thing about, let's break this down and just bring it to Roy Moore versus, let's say, Bill O'Reilly. I've been watching Bill O'Reilly,
He's
or
sleazy.
I used to, I should
He's
say.
Sleazy.
And he always, even though we liked a lot of his talking points, because at the time he and Hannity were the only ones, and maybe Rush, kind of putting out some semblance of truth. And so that's all we had. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have YouTube. And so we watched. But I always got this weird pit in my stomach. The violence that comes out of Bill O'Reilly when he's being confrontational is entirely different than the wit and strength that comes out of someone, let's say, like Tucker Carlson. Totally different. So I know that sexual assault or even sexual perversion, extreme perversion, always leads and lends itself to violence. And so I see a very violent side to Bill O'Reilly, then I'm already going to be predisposed to believe, yes, he is capable of committing an act like this.
Yeah, he is.
And so that's what's a little bit different. We look at Roy Moore, he doesn't have any kind of history like that from any of the character witnesses that have come out. All right, keep going.
Right. Bloom also reportedly arranged for a Clinton donor to help Harth pay off the mortgage on her Queens apartment. It was about less than $30,000, according to a source.
Just less than $30,000.
So that's the big news here. You know, if you want to be believed, don't hire Lisa Bloom. Don't hire Gloria Aldridge,
and don't take a payout.
Right.
For it. Because I'm not going to believe you if you got your mortgage paid off and I don't care how much was left on it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So, some people are changing the hashtag to not me. Hashtag not me.
Not me.
Instead of me too. Not
I like
me.
it. I like it.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah, because there were some other people that came out being sexually as sexual harassers. One is the black guy on PBS named Travis Smiley. He denies it. Yeah, he denies it, but they fired him.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so.
Mark H. says, Bill O'Reilly is rude to his coworkers. There is a cool video of O'Reilly losing his temper. I think O'Reilly was once, pushed with his dinner dates. Listen, yeah, I think we all know about Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
He was just kind of creepy, sleazy, whatever.
Let's go on to Nigel.
Let's go to Nigel.
See, it's okay to have faults. But there's a time when your faults cross the line to being like an awful human being.
Yeah.
Right. And so Nigel's one of those, you know, he's got faults, but his heart is in the right place.
Correct.
Okay.
Hang on, I still have
We love Nigel Farage.
Take that off. Bring that
For Freedom and Direct Democracy, Mr. Farage.
Thank you. I don't think I've ever heard so little criticism.
Here, let me pause this really quickly so that Leah and I can hear what Nigel is saying.
Yeah, that's always good, right? We have to bring in our little earbuds.
Yeah, you guys can just be patient.
I want to hear what he has to say.
I want to hear Nigel.
Oh, that's my phone number. No, I don't want to. Why are you bringing up my phone number for everyone to get?
What?
Twitter
I wasn't bringing up your phone
number.
number.
It was you could. Yeah, Twitter was.
Hang on. Let me unmute this. All right, here we go.
Ready?
We're going to do it right now.
Of the United Kingdom in this chamber in all my life. And I guess that doesn't really take much working out, does it? Monsieur Barnier said earlier there were key areas upon which he wasn't prepared to make many concessions. Well, you didn't need to, sir, because you were up against Theresa May. And she was... And she was all for making as many concessions as she possibly could, including agreeing a ludicrous bill of up to 40 billion sterling for us to have the right to leave, a continued role for the European Court of Justice, and in line with that, family reunions that mean, frankly, open-door immigration from the European Union is going to continue for years to come, and almost bizarrely, a commitment for ongoing regulatory alignment. It's as if, even though we're leaving, effectively the British government wants to keep us in some form of single market relationship. So I'm not surprised you're all very pleased with her. Teresa the Appeaser has given in on virtually everything. But as an observation in an exercise of power, it's fascinating. Whether we like or dislike the European Union, we can't deny the power that it's got. Because you managed to make a British Prime Minister leave Downing Street in the middle of the night, fly to Brussels, to go and forge an agreement with unelected bureaucrats based in Brussels. I mean, it's a form of ritual humiliation which she was prepared to put herself through. She has danced to your tune all the way through this. You must be very, very pleased indeed. And now we enter into what perhaps may be the biggest deception yet played on the British public. She is seeking a transition phase. And there are one or two comments here about whether the Brits will get that phase. Well, of course they will, because we're volunteering to go on paying the membership fee, to accepting all the existing rules, all the new rules. We will effectively, once transition is granted, have left the European Union at the end of March 2019 in name only.
Yep.
And if that transition phase lasts up until the next general election, there is a real possibility that a new incoming British government stroke coalition could sign us up to the single market and the customs union forever. So I do understand why many in this place feel encouraged by the performance of our Prime Minister, and I can assure you increasingly millions who voted for Brexit are feeling frustrated, perhaps even now moving to the point of anger. It's the same story across the whole of the West. The aspirations of the people and the aspirations of our political leaders and class are in a very, very different place.
True.
I fear Brexit, at some point in the future, may need to be refought all over again.
Wow. Yeah, Publicist Watson had said something to that effect. Nigel has said, you know, he fears that Brexit might need to be refought all over again. And this is...
It's sad because it was such a hard fight to start with.
Right, exactly. And you're going to, like Tommy Robinson said, you're going to keep having migration and you're going to keep having the attacks. And, you know, the idea of Brexit was to bring you your country back. And right. I say don't give up hope. Keep fighting and keep your spirits up because they beat you when your spirits are down. And so, yes. Like, we saw our defeat with Roy Moore, and Brexit is like that, like a huge scale.
They realize that they can get you completely demoralized, then there's a massive possibility you'll just give up and roll over because it's so hard to keep fighting it.
I want to read his article in the UK Telegraph. Parliamentarians want to water Brexit down to nothing. Don't they understand how many millions of votes they could be winning with a true Brexit? Is it any wonder the British public is increasingly contemptuous of politicians, and certain public figures? Consider this. At no point during last year's referendum campaign were the terms soft or hard Brexit ever used. Yet in the ensuing 18 months, they have been mentioned every day by bitter Remainers in a clear attempt to sabotage the result and frustrate the will of the people. Everybody knows that soft Brexit is Brexit in name only, the intention being that the UK should remain tied to the EU single market rules. And let's go to a couple of his clips that he has today from Sky News, I believe.
Staying in business, living a normal life, and never having got involved in politics at all. But I did because I could see that our career political class in Westminster was so gutless that they would sell us out to Europe at every opportunity. And the sadness is that we forced that referendum We played a big part, UKIP, in helping to win that referendum. But sadly, the day after the referendum, the very people that I'd fought against for 25 years were still in charge. And that's why we're in the mess we're in.
Wow.
I'd have been much happier.
Why we're in
The mess we're in.
I mean, like, Donald Trump can be elected,
Can
but...
we do the next one?
Yeah.
It is unlikely that we will have any change of control of people coming into the UK from the EU for at least 6 or 7 years after we voted to leave, and that is the best possible estimate. So at the moment, the immigration argument is going by default. It's not being discussed in British politics, not being discussed in Westminster at all, but please don't think that out there in the real country, it is not still a major issue, because it is.
So, Worth a Look, who has an amazing channel I want you guys to subscribe to, he's got a lot of compilations of Nigel and a few of Tucker, says, we have to wait years to leave. May as well leave now and start gathering trade deals around the world. It's pointless waiting another 4 years and then starting trade. Get it done now.
Yeah.
Well said.
If the Remainer rebellion in the House of Commons makes you angry, just wait until the unelected House of Lords gets its turn.
All right, so we'll probably bring that up again on Sunday
Yeah.
for our European show, but at least that gives you an idea that Nigel is still out there. He's still on the front lines. He's still fighting. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, so this really segues well into the next 3 little stories that I have brought up. We're always covering the result of this migration. We always go to... I tried to bring you the why and not just how, like the effects of it.
Right.
Why is this migration happening? What got me today was that there's a group of migrants on an island off of Australia.
Okay.
And they've been there for like a couple years. And Obama...
How did they get there, man?
Boats, man. Remember the boats? We played the thing where the Australian Prime Minister said, stop coming on the boats.
Yeah.
You will be... Well, they put him on this island.
Okay.
And Obama, in like the last days of his office, made this deal with Australia that we would take some of them.
Right, I remember that.
However, there's like a couple hundred that are headed our way, but they have... It's in the paper. It's in this document. I probably bring it up, that says they're not mentally stable.
Huh?
They're Bangladesh and Pakistan Muslims, and add to that, because the paper says that because they've been on an island for a couple years, not only were they mentally unstable before, but now they're even worse off.
But what kind of island was this? I mean, we're talking about Tom Hanks and Castaway kind of island. I mean, are they skinny? Is their hair long? I mean, they burnt with the sun.
Well, it's not the Ritz-Carlton.
Did they have food?
That's not the Ritz.
What are we talking about here?
They had food, but it wasn't awesome. It wasn't a great place to be. So we'll get to that in a little bit. They're there right now still.
Okay. And when they're supposed to come here?
Soon
they're coming here.
Yeah. Sweden raises the retirement age to cope with immigration because they can't afford to pay their retirees, because this great socialist state is awesome.
So now
we're paying for men, able-bodied men in their 20s and 30s
to come, and the old people got to keep working. Because that's the way it should be.
The retirement age for Sweden's pension funds will eventually rise to 69. So much for being in a socialist country. You don't get a retirement as this socialist country. It might as well just be communist.
Oh my god!
Due to Muslim immigration boom in the country. In short, the country is spending too much money on migrant welfare that it can no longer properly fund the pensions for native retirees. Swedish media, which typically downplays immigration pitfalls, actually admitted the rise in retirement age would result in a major deterioration in the quality of life for Swedes.
Wow.
No joke. Sweden's need for welfare... should I bring up my accent?
The Sweden's need for welfare increases faster than our revenues.
Then the Minister of Finance, Magdalena Andersson, raises the height of retirement age. Looking at those who start working at 30, there should be opportunities to work longer than 65. Opportunities.
I love that.
Andersson also implied the elderly will just need to suck it up to help out the migrants. She believes there must be an attitude change in the elderly in the labor market.
You got to change your attitude.
Those who are high up in the ages will have the opportunity to work longer.
Opportunity to work longer.
Opportunity.
That
word. You keep saying that word.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
So this other person was even more frank in the news. The minimum age for obtaining general pension will be increased gradually from 61 years as it is today to 64 in 2026.
Now that's huge, though. That jump from 61. I know they just said 2026 is 64. 2026 isn't that far away, but the end goal is 69.
Yeah,
that's an 8-year increase. I mean, that's huge.
You should therefore be able to retire at the age of 64 at the earliest. In addition, employees must be entitled to work for 69 years. As we live longer, we also have to work longer if pensions can continue to grow.
Are we really living longer? Like that much longer?
Well, you know what happens, though, is they get stuck in these retirement homes, and life is not awesome in America.
That's not actually living longer.
No, it's like
just
dying
kind of
slower. Wow. Not living longer, dying slower.
You just coined that.
I know.
That was so witty.
I know. This agreement is an important step towards longer working life, and thus higher pensions and more resources for welfare. Enter commie socialist state. But basically, it's just because of freeloading migrants don't do anything and get money. They do nothing. And now all the old
people got to work to pay for it.
This is the most
great idea.
I can't stay too long on this. I can't. I'll just get mad. But, however, good news. No Grand Mosque in Helsinki. The Bahrain-funded proposal ditched by authorities. Authorities in Helsinki have denied a Muslim foundation permission to secure land for a grand mosque in the city, expressing concern about the funding of the project, which would have come from the Gulf Kingdom of Bahrain. Now, recognize that most of these mosques are funded by
the state, by the governments,
other
which doesn't
Muslim
make any
countries.
sense. If you want to do a church here in the United States, you got to have the money yourself.
So this was in Finland, in Helsinki, Finland, and they said no. It says the role of the actors who fund the mosque and its activities might consist a security risk if it decreases the feeling of belonging to the Finnish society among the Muslim population. I am delighted that we managed to unanimously block the so-called Grand Mosque project. Together we showed that Helsinki is not anti-Islamic or against Muslim, but on the other hand, neither is the city blue-eyed in its being naive. He wrote this guy, I guess this minister in Finland wrote. So I'm actually kind of glad that
is exciting.
Elsewhere in Europe, people have
standing up.
Yeah, I guess earlier this year.
They use the idea that they don't want the state to pay for it, but I'm hoping that there's more behind it. That.
Earlier this year, 2 women were stabbed to death in Turku, what is considered to have been the first terrorist attack on Finnish soil. Gonna sneeze. I don't know where it came from. Just one sneeze. Random. All right. So, Politico says, why not just let refugees work at the European Commission? Newly arrived migrants would be helped better integrate if they were given jobs assisting the governance of Europe, Politico claims. Since the peak of the migration crisis that hit Europe in the summer of 2015, there has been a surge of interest and activity around ways to improve the labor market integration of refugees. From tech and telecommunication companies such as Siemens and the Deutsche Telekom to the international retail powerhouse IKEA, a small but growing number of firms are adapting existing traineeship programs to include language courses and integration packages tailored to refugees. These social innovations are most difficult to find, however, in the places where they might be expected, in the halls of government and the international organizations and institutions working on asylum, international protection, I guess. So it's really interesting there. So they want to offer unpaid... Ah!
Oh. Nice save, Leah. Wow, she grabbed the cord.
Oh, that was really funny.
That was funny. All right, no, I'm going to work on it here. Wait, this is off.
I didn't think I was going to catch anything when I saw it going.
Oh, jeez.
That was Jasper. That was Jasper. So, while we're a little bit wobbly, why don't you tell us...
this isn't sitting right.
Why don't you all tell us what you think about the European Commission hiring
they're not,
refugees?
Read it, dude, while I fix it.
But they can...
Well, yeah, you could type it.
They can talk about it amongst themselves.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
So, I wanted to bring this next story up to you guys. Selfie with Miss Israel forces Miss Iraq's family to flee the country. Now, this was interesting at the time when Miss Iraq took a picture with Miss Israel. And everybody was up in arms so much that they want to kill her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But so my question is anybody out after Miss Israel for doing this? Or, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Are there any Israeli people that just want to kill Miss Israel for taking a picture with Miss Iran?
No. So, Sarah Idan, the reigning Miss Iraq, has faced threats and her family forced to flee their homeland after she posed for a picture with fellow contestant from Israel last month during preparations for the Miss Universe pageant in 2017 beauty pageant in Las Vegas. This woman, Idan, took a selfie with Miss Israel, Adar or something, and posted the picture on her Instagram. Peace and love from Miss Iraq and Miss Israel.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, the picture drew widespread condemnation and death threats in Baghdad, forcing Idan's family to escape from Iraq. So, you know, hashtag religion of peace, hashtag Muslims are awesome, hashtag it all. We aren't politically correct. They can shut us down on YouTube for not being politically correct. For just, you know, it's so weird that you can't just, like, be normal and, like, hey, say this can't be a thing.
Right.
The picture drew widespread condemnation and death threats, and the fact that Idan and gangsmen were modeling in bikinis didn't help either. The two of those things together caused a mess for her back home, where people made threats against her and her family, and that if she didn't return home and take down the photos, they would remove her Miss Iraq title and that they would kill her.
So Miss Iraq is not allowed to compete in the Miss Universe contest, period. That's kind of what I'm hearing, because if she can't participate in the bikini competition, which, okay, you and I, Leah and I are not feminists, but we do believe in modesty, and I think that the Miss Universe competition could be better served not based on beauty, but rather contributions to your community.
Not exactly worthy of death. Death, though?
Exactly. Not exactly worthy of death. So, yeah. About that.
So, despite the uproar, Idan refused to delete the picture.
Good for her.
She says, I wanted to stress that the purpose of the picture was only to express hope and desire for peace between the two countries. This picture doesn't mean I support the Israeli government or its policies towards Arab countries. I apologize to everyone who saw it as an insult to the Palestinian cause. That was not its purpose. So now, literally, you can't do anything with any Israeli, any Jew. This is why I support Israel and not Palestine. These people are insane, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay? You may not agree with the way Israel handles things. Right. And I get it, because our government handles things bad. Have you seen the Korean War? Have you heard about Vietnam? Okay? Our government doesn't handle things right. And you know what? Israel, they don't handle things right. But there's a difference between the people being insane.
Thank you.
And the Palestinians.
Cray.
They're crazy, dude. They are crazy. They have been brainwashed into crazy-dumb. Okay? At least hide it. Israel at least hides it if they're crazy.
Right.
At least hide it. You can't go around parading flags like an idiot saying death to Israel, death to Jews. If you believe it, don't say it.
Right.
Okay?
That's a good point, Leah.
All right?
If you believe it, just don't say it.
And if you actually believe death to anyone but, you know, actual real criminals. I mean, the problem with these Palestinians is that they go and just randomly blow up innocent people. This is not normal behavior. I don't like the globalists, right? But I'm not going to go blow up innocent people because of it. I mean, this is not sane. Like, 2 and 2 don't make 500. So the Palestinians have, like, issues. Major issues. That's why I support Israel. One of the reasons. Because the Palestinians, they're all terrorists.
Right.
They just... So... they've been in regular contact with each other. They're friends. They don't regret taking the photos. She did it so that people can understand that it's possible to live together. Get to know, this is Miss Iraq, and she's amazing, bringing peace together, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's pretty awesome when normal people just get together and are friends, and, you know, all right.
I agree.
So, moving on to something funny. Our president, odd of all timings, gave an address to the graduates of the FBI Academy on Friday.
Oh, really?
And in a line that he gave about the fake news, people in the audience and the graduates laughed, and it was pretty funny. So, I'm going to play this
Young Americans watching at home, of which there are many. You see, there's the fake news back there. Look, everything. Fake news. No, actually, some of them are fine people. About
30%. He says 30%.
Why is it stopping?
Yeah, about 30%.
I'll play it again.
Americans watching at home, of which there are many. You see, there's the fake news back there. Look, everything. Fake news. No, actually, some of them are fine.
Some of them are fine people. He says.
About 30%. That's awesome.
About, let's see, who's back there? Yeah, about 30%.
I have an itch right here on this.
Yeah, help, man.
All right, so I thought that was hilarious.
That's pretty good.
All right, so
we're going over our weekly roundup and adding some stuff to it via Leah's Twitter because we didn't have things exactly prepared, but this is my preparedness. I like it. I'm just letting people know that's what's coming. If you want to know what's coming, follow us on Twitter.
Right. All right, so this is from Amy Mack on Twitter. I follow her. Her big thing is anti-Sharia. She says, Sharia Canada, Muslim refugee with 9 bombs strapped to a suicide vest and demanding to speak with Trump takes 13 hostages inside a bank. Notice how Canadian police are forced to conceal the fact that the terrorist was a jihadi invader.
Oh, yeah, you can't have that for jihadi.
Oh, no, can't have that.
No, you can't have it, no.
That we are going to go right now to...
Let's take it right now.
Tell us, give us an update here. What can you tell us about the SIU investigation? Go back to me.
Good evening, everyone. I can tell you that investigators with the province's Special Investigations Unit are examining the circumstances surrounding a fatal police-involved shooting at a bank in Vaughan. Preliminary information indicates the following occurred, that just after 1 p.m. today, police were notified of a man entering a bank at Dufferin Street and Major Mackenzie. A short time later, they were told that the man had hostages inside the bank. Police attended, including members of the emergency response unit. 2 police officers discharged their firearms not long after. The man was struck and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The SIU has assigned 8 investigators and 4 forensic investigators as part of this investigation. We're asking anyone who may have witnessed this incident to contact our lead investigator.
Where did they shoot the individual inside? Was it a sniper? We're hearing that it was perhaps a sniper that shot the suspect.
So, preliminary information is that 2 police officers discharged their firearms. I can't tell you at this point in time in the investigation, because we're at the very preliminary stages, who those officers were, but 2 police officers discharged their firearms as part of this interaction.
Tell us the age of the man, where he's from, and have police identified him?
So I don't have the location of where the person who is deceased is from, but I can tell you that he is a 25-year-old man.
So this was, police have yet to say that this was a bank robbery here, an attempted robbery. We've heard a couple things. What did he ask for?
So as I mentioned earlier, we're at the very preliminary stages of this investigation. What I can tell you is that police were called for a man inside a bank with a number of hostages, and they responded to that situation. The SIU's investigation is going to be focused on the interaction between the police officers and the individual. Of course, as part of that investigation, we're going to look to determine what happened in the lead up.
So, kind of, that's pretty awesome.
We're not going to tell you right away anything.
Right. So
that we already know for sure.
He wanted crystal meth and to talk with President Trump. He's Middle Eastern, confirmed a police source. I believe he's originally from Egypt. One witness said there was no references to any religious or terror allegiances in the man's ranting. The only thing political was the name Trump. Maybe this man was drug-addled or genuinely insane. If so, taking hostages and strapping on a suicide vest was so well within his cultural frame of reference. And so this is what he did.
He asked for drugs, though. That's a little bit weird.
Vaughn hostage taker wore suicide vest, demanded to speak with Trump. Demanded to talk to the United States President Donald Trump. The 25-year-old man had 9 bombs strapped to a suicide vest and a detonator in one hand and a gun in the other. He was threatening to use his entire arsenal inside the RBC branch in the corner. We had 3 13 hostages. He was waving a gun around one person who was on the scene. He was not demanding money. He asked for no money. He said he wanted crystal meth and he wanted to talk to Trump. He also asked for panicked bank employees to call the police. Police are working to determine whether his arsenal or threats were real, but York Regional Police did not take any chances. After a robot was deployed inside the bank, 2 officers took him out with gunshots. I'm glad that they did, said one person who was inside the building before being told to get out by the police. It was a scary situation when a guy has bombs
and a gun.
And so the investigation is still in the early stages, but the man is Middle Eastern, originally from Egypt.
Yeah.
Terror attack?
No, Leah. This is Canada.
Terror
doesn't happen in Canada, you know. They let in all the peaceful Muslims. Leah doesn't know anything.
I know. I must not know.
What else
all
do you
right.
have?
So, what else do we have? Going back to Poland. We're going to Poland for a second.
Stacy says, feed him to the starving polar bears. The left are saying that they're dying in climate change.
I can't even do that one. That polar bear, there's a polar bear that died, and they said it was climate change, and he was like reaching his hand into a trash can and like died on the film. It was just, I can't do
You know what? I wouldn't put past the left to like have given him a piece of meat, drugged it, and then waited for him at the trash can,
I don't know
what I'm saying? He died from climate change. Seriously?
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
All right. Poland's new leader, judicial reforms opposed by EU necessary to reform corrupt left-wing judiciary. Poland's new prime minister has laid out why judicial reforms the European Union has denounced as an attack on the rule of law are necessary to reform a corrupt judiciary shaped by the old communist regime. So he doesn't tell me how to say his name. Mateusz Morawiecki.
It's Polish. You can't.
Yeah, I know somebody, Marston, doesn't really like him, but I want to bring you the news anyways. He took over from Beata Szydło.
How many times did I say it and you can't say it?
Szydło.
Beata Szydło.
Thank you. As prime minister, following reshuffling, all year we have struggled with the widespread misunderstanding of our plans to reform Poland's deeply flawed judicial structure, citing the European Parliament's attempts to initiate never-before-invoked proceedings to sanction his country because of them. Although many in Central Europe suspect this move has more to do with Poland's opposition to the EU migrant quota policy than the reforms itself. No democratic nation can accept having any branch of government independent of checks, balances, and public accountability. So in 1989, roundtable talks between Poland's communists and the democratic opposition within the president then, don't ask me to say his name, the man who ran Poland's martial law government for the Soviets was allowed to nominate an entirely new bench of communist-era judges to staff the post-communist courts. The judges dominated their judiciary for half a century and remain in place. To this day, an elite council of 25, dominated by 15 judges at the appellate level or above, nominates all judges, including their own successors. So you're going to constantly have commies and commies and commies and commies and commies, right?
Right.
No trial judge or elected official participates. The president may accept or reject the nominees. The system lends itself to nepotism and corruption. And he highlighted some particular examples as such as a case of a judge moonlighting as a loan shark who could not be prosecuted because his peers took so long deliberating his judicial immunity that the statute of limitations ran out. So I applaud them. Favors for friends and bribes and things like that. So you have to clean up your government. And
so speaking of Marston, because we have a lot of wonderful Polish people, but Marston has contributed quite a few times to our show. And I think it was last Sunday, we were talking about the Beata Szydło no longer being prime minister and kind of wondering what some of the theories were on that. And so he sent me an email that said, "Hi, Michelle, I just watched your video, the one with So What correspondent, and noticed that you were not entirely convinced by the official explanation of replacing Beata Szydło with Mateusz Morawiecki. Vicky. So here's my theory. What is really at stake? I don't have any official info or anything. It's just my thinking. Phase 1. In 2018, there are local elections in which city councils, mayors, etc. are elected. At present, the president of the capital, Warsaw, is a liberal politician, Hanna Gronkwaks-Waltz. and is enjoying a rather big support. I believe that Beata Shidawala will try to recapture the capital city for conservatives. I like the way it says recapture. It sounds like a game. If she succeeds, then Phase 2, Shidawala will be gaining experience as the head of the city. In 2020, there are elections for president of Poland. Currently, a conservative, Andrzej Duda, is the president. I believe he will not try to win in the second term. He will step down, and Shidawala will resign from her office and will become an official candidate of conservatives for the president, with huge chances of winning because A, people will miss her as a politician on a state level. B, it will not be possible to attribute her any of her Andrzej Duda's errors, while as another conservative during her campaign, she will be able to use his successes and present herself as his continuator. C, she'll be able to use her success and Prime Minister Morawieckie's hopefully future success in her campaign by showing she prepared the ground for them. How about that explanation? I think that that is a very valid and hopeful outlook of an explanation. I like that a lot. So thank you very much, Marcin, for that.
Okay, so you have not met this woman. I'm very excited. She is possibly, she's in the running.
She's from Finland?
She is Finland's Marine Le Pen.
She even kind of looks like Marine
I
Le
know,
Pen,
and I love her hair. Exactly.
Do you think that's her color hair because she's from
I don't
Finland?
know.
It could be.
Yeah. Finnish presidential candidate would take nation out of the EU, tighten immigration rules. So, the presidential candidate for the Finns party, who were in government under a coalition deal until June, would take Finland out of the European Union if elected. And she said in an interview with Rodgers, she said, Finland will leave the European Union and position itself as the Switzerland of the North to protect its independence if Laura Huhtasaari, the presidential candidate of the Eurosceptic Finns party, has her way. She also told Rodgers in an interview she wants to tighten immigration rules. I gotta figure out how to say her name because I think we're going to see a lot of her.
Where is it?
Huhtasaari, maybe? Huhtasaari? Dubbed Finland's Marine Le Pen after France's National Front leader, is a long shot, but she believes she has a real chance in January election as her party has taken a fresh start following its removal from the coalition government in June. The rise in Europe of parties that are critical towards the EU and immigration is due to bad, unjust politics, she said. The role for Finland in the Eurozone is the role for a loser and a payer. I do not want Finland to become a province of the EU. Finns must stand up for Finland's interest, and hopefully we will bring more to you about her on Sunday during our EU news. I want to find some video clips of her. This is just from the Breitbart article. I just heard about her. Pretty excited. So Jasper's making noises here. So back to Britain. Back to Nigel Farage. All right. Britain imported balding child migrants with beards, says former border force chief. Dozens of child migrants who were brought into Britain were balding and had beards, said the former UK border chief. Migrants were granted access to the UK after the forced closure of the Calais migrant camp in France. At least 750 child migrants were given refuge as part of a deal with France, but according to Tony Smith, a former Director General of the UK Border Force, some of them looked clearly like adults. I'm not confident all the vulnerable minors brought over here from Calais were children. In fact, I'm confident some of them were not and were actually adult economic migrants posing as children.
Maybe they just lose their hair early and like get facial hair early.
Yes,
really
some would have
early.
sworn on their mother's lives. They were
I
only
know
16.
what it is. No, I get it though, because we now have an epidemic breakout amongst the Muslims of all of these Middle Eastern countries of the Benjamin Button syndrome. They start out, right? Old and wrinkly.
They get younger.
And they get younger as they go. I mean, that makes total sense to me. I've seen it in a movie. I've seen it happen. There was also the movie with Robin Williams or something like that. Didn't he do one of those?
Maybe.
Start out or was one of those. Yeah, I'm convinced that it's been in movies. It's got to be a real thing.
If they can get away with an age, they will, because minors are treated much more favorably than adults. If they can get away with claiming they are a nationality which is more favorable to getting asylum, like a Somali or a Syrian, then why not claim that? There's a huge amount of deception in immigration. Earlier, it became clear that a test of Sweden's child migrants revealed that out of 8,000 of them, 6,600 were over 18 years old. There were also serious doubts about the real age of UK's child migrants last year. So we're going to see a few pictures of these 16-year-old boys. Here we go. Yes.
Wait.
From the Daily Mail.
Which ones are supposed to be 16?
I think all the pictures are. Here's 16-year-old right here.
That's not a real thing. That is not a real thing.
The migrant who is the center of the row over his age.
Oh my God. You guys can't see that very well.
He was one of the 14 bused to Croydon from the notorious jungle camp, Shantytown. Yes, that is Benjamin Button syndrome.
Yeah. Now, see, some of these guys look a little bit younger. That one looks young for sure. That one is not 16. No way. That I would guess that kid at like maybe 18. Some of them, but I don't know. They do look definitely some of those are the same kids. That guy is not 16. No way is that guy 16 for sure. I don't know. They could just be giving them these haircuts that make them look.
This guy isn't.
That guy is not 16. And how can anybody that's like supposed to be an official there looking at this guy think that this is okay?
You can see the wrinkles. Wrinkles come with age.
Yeah, because we got
That's a man right there.
Right.
These are men. I know little boys. I know high school boys. I know what they look like. None of those were high school boys.
Tabitha, those are clearly men, not boys or children. Ange says, I'm 20 if that's the case.
Exactly. Eminem calls Donald Trump Aryan, fantasizes about Ivanka in the trunk of his car. Rapper Eminem called President Trump an Aryan and fantasized about kidnapping First Lady Melania Trump and embraces Black Lives Matter on his latest album in 4 years.
Because it's okay to go after a man's wife if you disagree with the man.
On the political album anthem titled Like Home, featuring Alicia Keys, someone get this Aryan a sheet, time to bury him, so tell him to prepare to get impeached. Everybody at your feet. This is where terrorism and heroism meets. Square up in the streets. This chump barely even sleeps. All he does is watch Fox News like a parrot and repeats. While he looks like a canary with a beak. Why you think ban transgenders from the military with a tweet? He's trying to divide us. This like a cult, but like Johnny, he'll only unite us.
Now, hang on. Are you going to read it another one? Because I think that you could do better than that.
I'm not going to rap his things. It's stupid. They're so stupid. No.
You should.
No, because I don't want to give it any flair.
Okay, fine.
It's
It'd be funnier if you did it though.
The Donald ducks on the Tonka truck in the yard. How the F is Ivanka Trump in the trunk of my car. Got to get to the bottom of it. Try to solve it. Must go above it and beyond because it's incumbent upon me because I feel somewhat responsible for the dumb little blonde girl, that baton twirler that got dumped in the pond. See, listen, Eminem came to the forefront lately because he has his F Donald Trump tweets and everything like that. This dude is demonically, satanically possessed. I don't know why he's a thing. I don't know why anyone would listen to his music. It's not music. It is satanic. He raps about killing his mom, raping his mom, killing his ex-wife, raping them in the most
mentally sound. Now, I want to say a good welcome to Heather from Going Bowdy because we don't get to see much from her because she's very, very busy, mommy. She says he's a moron and had no talent.
Yeah, he doesn't have listen, this guy he's repulsive. I had a really strong Christian friend who just rapped about this thought. He's such a great guy. He can rhyme. The guy can rhyme.
That's about it.
He rhymes, and I could rhyme all the time.
But you know what?
You want to pay my fine?
You know what? It's really
only
easy
a dime
to rhyme things with in, and that's why they use the F word, effin'. It all rhymes with that. So hang on, because I want to do a shift really quick because Rosa Sharon
wants to kill Ivanka
Homestead, aka Stacey, who had a birthday yesterday. She says, LOL, have to go, but had to tell the good news. Jada from Britain's First is free. Judge tossed the case out. Praise God.
Thank you,
I did not hear that. So we'll look into that and probably bring it back to you guys on Sunday.
Cover your children's ears. I want to give you a few little lines.
Heather says
here.
my 4th grader rhymes better than him.
Yeah. Now, an F. N. Coulter with a Klan poster with a lamppost door handle shutter, a darn bolt cutter, a sandal, a can opener, a candle, a piano, a flannel, and goes on to say...
That doesn't even make any sense.
A banjo with a manhole cover. He is so repulsive. This guy is demon possessed. And none of you listen to him, so it doesn't even matter. I'm sure of it. Because you wouldn't be watching us if you did. So he is just really awful. Just really awful.
And why is he even relevant anymore? I mean, he's old, for one. I'm just kidding. But for a rapper, aren't they usually supposed to be kind of young and hip? And he's just kind of tried to carry on that. But you've aged, my friend.
You have. You have. All right. So now I think this might be one of our last stories that we'll wrap up with. And maybe we can take some of your comments and stuff. And this is our fun Friday night thing. We have a song we actually practiced.
Don't tell him that.
I know.
I know. If it's bad, then we can't we didn't practice excuse.
The expectations low.
That's right.
Because then you can always rise above.
Right. Heather says he's trying to be relevant, and he is not. Too much crack cocaine and meth, says Jesse.
Too much satanic blood drinking urine occult seances. All right. I think it was molested too as a kid. Report. Probably. Here we go. The Pakistani Afghan nationals to be resettled in the U.S. have acute mental health problems.
So this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
This is the article. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
Single men from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Myanmar expected to be resettled in the United States next year have acute mental health problems. No problem here. According to the New York Times report, after President Trump failed to end a refugee deal with Australia that he committed to opposing. He did say, we're nixing this.
Yes.
He said it was a very bad deal. I mean, he was on the phone with the Australian Prime Minister. He told us he was going to nix this. So, former President Obama signed the Australian-U.S. refugee deal during his last months in office, promising to take 1,250 Middle Eastern refugees off of Australia's hands. The refugees who are mostly males. See, these aren't women. These aren't children.
Where are they? Why don't they send the women and the children first?
Here's the thing.
Can somebody explain that to me?
In our hometown newspaper, it's always like all the refugees are always like these beautiful little families.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
they
see, they've been held in detention centers on Manus Island and Nura Islands in Australia, despite Trump's original statement calling a deal a dumb deal. The president has now broken two long-promised campaign pledges, throwing out the deals that don't benefit Americans and stopping the flow of foreign refugees. Already, about 54 Middle Eastern refugees from the Australia detention centers have been resettled in the U.S., despite allegedly having mental health problems. As Breitbart News reported, now an additional 60 to 65 single men from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Myanmar are expected to arrive next year, the majority which have mental health problems as well, the New York Times reports. If the U.S. isn't going to accept people from certain countries, they should make that crystal clear now so Australia can make alternative arrangements, said Elaine Pearson, the Australian director of the Human Rights Watch. There's no time to waste. These refugees have acute mental health problems, made worse by years of uncertainty and insecurity on Manus and Nura.
Was that pretty good? That was pretty
good. Just talk fast.
Yeah.
Breitbart News has covered the refugee deal extensively, exposing the mental health and public safety risk the foreign refugees may become to local American communities. All right. I don't feel like this is a very good idea.
No.
There's no real vetting processes for these people. They're actually illegal aliens in Australia. They're not real refugees. They're not the people trying to flee North Korea, guys. We don't know which ones might have been accused of rape and being sexual predators. In January, a refugee from Sri Lanka living in the detention centers raped an 18-year-old high school student multiple times after taking her to a nearby hotel. The girl tried to run away from relatives' home but suffered blood loss, and then she eventually fainted. In another case in March, officials confirmed a 28-year-old Pakistani from the detention center had been charged with raping a 10-year-old girl. Just a month later, refugees from the detention center were accused of trying to lure a 5-year-old boy into the facility, causing an uproar in the local community. And that was from the Australian News Corp Australian Network. So not exactly, I guess they're on an island and they're just not awesome. So what do you guys think?
So, first of all, I need to go back. Britt Baza says that Jada's case is looking at a 2-year sentence in prison for her latest arrest.
Wow.
So in total now, if these cases are upheld, she is looking at 6 years in prison consecutively. Wow. But he did say that the judge didn't toss the case out on Jada. The charges still exist. She's just been given freedom instead of being held on remand.
Ooh.
So,
no free speech.
Stacy had just sent me a video from Britain First. I don't know how long it is. Maybe we'll just wait and bring that on Sunday once we figure out exactly what's going on. However, I want to get to this because I find this... all right, trying agreement. Eminem is a wigger and too easy to trigger, tries to pander and does nothing but slander a man he will never be, like our commander-in-chief.
That was pretty good.
So there you go. Thank you very much, trying agreement. I like that a lot. Tabitha says... To me, they seem like cowards fleeing their country instead of doing something to fix it. Traitors, we take in cowards and traitors. Hope they aren't looking for American wives.
Yeah, it's weird, dude.
Very, very true. So,
I gotta tell you, I'm not all for Mexican immigration, but give me the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Give me the Mexicans. They
don't blow themselves up. They don't drive their cars into crowds of people. Now, we do have the MS-13 gang. That's a little bit different. But by and large, that's a kind of a...
By and large, the Mexicans that come here are Christians, and they do integrate into our society.
Right.
And so... the migration from Muslim countries is because of different ideologies. Mexicans are Christian. They believe in God, so they come into a Christian nation. It works well.
Right.
It should be stemmed. We should have, you should always come in legally.
Well, we just can't take in everyone, and that's the problem. And there has to be a system and a process.
And actually, and the real problem with them coming in is not their numbers. It's the fact that they are being paid under the table and lowering the wages for everyone else.
And they're being treated like second-class citizens.
Exactly. And the fact that make Mexico great again, we've been over that 100 times.
Right.
So.
Somebody left a comment earlier saying that. Why aren't these people trying to fix their countries while they're there?
Mexico would.
Right.
We messed up Mexico. They had this great corn thing going, and then we have GMOs, and our government subsidized GMOs and flooded their market. It's a long story. Look at the North America trade agreement. Really messed up these farms that dissolved.
Right.
They were self-sufficient, so they had to come, and I get it. But these guys coming over into Europe from these African countries, these Muslim countries, they're up to no good.
Right.
They're not even working and where they go. At least the Mexicans come here, the first thing they do is get a job.
That's very true.
They work like 50 hours,
and then they send the money back to their families.
But these refugees,
they're not family oriented.
Aren't working.
Right.
They're not there to work. They're literally not there to work.
Did anybody ever say work like a Muslim? Just saying. My show. I can say what I want. Just saying. All right. So, Gary says they are the democratic slaves. True, my friend. Let's see. Our trying agreement goes back to Cecilian Gowan says, yes, notice the invaders in Europe go to the countries with the most welfare.
Yeah, like, oh, Sweden didn't give me enough. I'm going to go here. Or Germany didn't give me enough. Or Italy doesn't give me enough. Poland particularly keeps theirs low. You don't want to come here, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so do we want to do... So what says exactly, how do they even get from Pakistan to Sweden, these people?
Well, they pay money. They people smugglers. It's crazy.
It is insane.
I just gotta wonder.
So what has a 2 behind his name because they already nixed his first So What. I think it was So What back. And now you just can't cut a break. What is it? Why are they censoring you versus us? I mean, we watch your stuff.
Germany, try to get an IP address in another country or something.
Can you do that?
Be a hacker and try to, so your government can't follow you. It's pretty bad. It's like they're totally following you. So.
Yep. All right. So, do you want to do our song?
Well, unless this is Friday, anybody else have anything?
Do you guys have anything you want to bring up? Because we're running early.
Yeah.
Here with our stuff.
We can make this a communication thing.
But now we have a 30-second leg, so we'll have to wait.
Oh.
Worth a Look says cameras everywhere.
Get IP Shield.
IP shield.
Can you do that in Germany?
I don't know. It would be worth a try.
It definitely would be worth a try.
Scotty Good says, I'm at work right now, ladies. You know, a lot of people take us to work with them. And I love that you guys do that. That is absolutely fantastic.
9 days till Christmas. We're going to sing a Christmas carol here in a minute.
Gonzalez 131, you were born in Mexico, but you are our family in America. I like that. So what says, thanks again, YouTube. They striked me for a video about the New York pipe bomb terrorist.
Duh.
Of course they did.
It wasn't YouTube, it was Germany. I bet it was just the German government and YouTube and the YouTube working together.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. So actually, while we're waiting for a couple more comments to come in, I can plug Maia's. If you guys saw yesterday, I had a neck injury and I was hurting when we were going live, and I used Maia's Pain Be Gone salve, and it really, really has helped me today. So you guys need to go to, I always put her where you can find her, her healthy products in the description. So,
the mayor of Nazareth just canceled Christmas in protest of Trump.
What?
Not even possible?
I don't.
Do you have a link
is that possible? I don't know.
No, Milo says there's no welfare for us here, let alone for them.
In Serbia.
Is that where he says?
I think you're in Serbia, aren't you? Let's see. We are Borg. I used to pity refugees and poor migrants, but now if you don't want to work or learn the local language, get out.
Yeah, like immigrants used to come here, like my grandpa. You know, there's a difference when you want to migrate somewhere because you want to make it better and you want to be better. He wanted to start a company. Like all of my relatives who came here, most everybody's relatives, there was no welfare when they came.
Right.
You came here and you started at the bottom and you worked your way up.
Right.
You know?
Britt Baza has asked me if I checked out the Alexander technique, and no, I didn't. I haven't had a chance to do that today yet. I can get her, Leah. I got it.
Sydney sometimes can make it up on the couch, but sometimes she can't.
Yes, our animals are allowed on the furniture.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
What kind of insane person wouldn't do that? Serbia, yes. Milos is in Serbia.
Yes.
I know things.
You know things. I have a hard time remembering.
All right, so if you guys don't have any other topics that you want us to cover, we can do the song. We're going to sing O Come, Emmanuel.
Yep.
Now, here is the thing. The reason we're singing this song is because I listen to Pandora a lot when I'm cleaning the kitchen, if I'm not listening to the YouTube or the Bible on audio. And there's a song that comes up by the Piano Guys. I want you guys to just go to YouTube, and I'll probably put the description because I can't play it in the background because they'll do the copyright thing. But it's one of those songs that gives you goosebumps. It's literally just a piano and a cello playing O Come, Emmanuel, and is one of the right at the middle. The cello comes in, and it is just absolutely fantastic. So we're going to sing it, but it's not going to be anything like that.
Explain this to me.
All right, what's going on?
Women are cups and men are swords. Women bearing swords die of hunger. Men bearing cups die of thirst.
Who said that?
James True. Explain that. I don't get the cup thing. I don't understand. I know there's probably something interesting to that. Wait, you moved the things. I was trying to read.
I'm sorry.
Ah, you moved again.
Hey,
why are you moving?
It just goes really fast.
Let's see. I don't know if it's true, but people in France claim that their politicians are receiving money from Saudi Arabia to take migrants in. That makes sense.
Yeah, that would not be very surprising.
That makes sense. James is a poet. Welfare are flotation vets for economic migrants, not for citizens.
Okay, in a pagan religion, the cup represents the womb.
Oh.
Says the man from Epistlan Crucis. I love your guys' screen names. They're so fantastic.
Men bearing wombs die of thirst. I'm trying to understand that one.
We're not philosophers.
Yeah.
The cup is the symbol of feminine and the sword is masculine. So meaning if you have...
Girls be girls and boys be boys, is that what you're saying?
I like it. It's a gender thing.
It's a gender thing.
I love it. All of our viewers are explaining this for Lee and I. They're a little bit slow. Weirborg says, my grandparents worked as strawberry pickers and lived in a barn when they first came over to the U.S. in the 20s. They died owning 2 homes and a successful business in the Midwest.
Right.
James True says yes. I guess we got it hashed out there.
Okay. Cool. My grandpa worked on a farm too. Became a famous inventor.
It used to be that you could come to America and just by the sweat of your own brow create something fantastic.
All right, there's not enough room for the guitar, so you're going to have to rearrange here.
All right, we'll back it up.
Back it up, back it in.
Let us begin. All right. See, because you always put your drinks there. It's hard.
I will move it. I will move it.
I don't want anybody's drink to go down.
Not going down. Going down.
Be careful.
Oh, not the computer.
No, it's gonna be good. Well, they're all like,
I wonder how high I can go. This one's really high today.
Whoa.
The wires. There's so many wires. Wires. This is like reverse
one day
limbo.
We may set up.
Did you see my? I'm trying to get around the
basement, but today is not that day.
Yeah, it would be really cool to have this set up in the basement, but it's just not. So like permanently set up in the basement, that'd be really cool. So.
All right, I don't even know what that looks like now. Oh, it's completely
Hair's
off.
in the way. Hair's.
No, you're good.
Hair.
Do you have space now?
I believe
feel
I have
spacious?
spacage. Yes, I feel spacious.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're
whoa, who's strumming?
That
See,
one.
now it's gonna come. You know, they're gonna cut off our whole video. Somebody have a copyright on that one strum. Holy
So if we're gonna
smokes.
sing the last one, you have to just scroll down one at the very end for me. But if we don't want to sing it, we don't have to. All right. So all right,
I'm gonna
hair.
put this up
I think
here.
I think there's just too much hair here.
Do you have a pick?
Too much hair. Don't need a pick. Don't need it. Roll up the sleeves here. Get out of the way. Sydney is going.
I also want a Gibson again. So what? Did you play guitar?
Aww.
I have many Gibson Custom Shop Les Pauls. Fantastic. Good for you, Scotty.
Pretty.
This is a J200 series from the Gibson Custom Shop.
This is a Montana Gold, and it's unbelievably awesome. Okay.
I'm probably going to use it. See, you're going to knock over the camera. I'm going to use the lyrics from behind us. Go ahead.
How am I going to...
Nope, you're good.
Okay. Just by. Oh, yeah.
What's happening?
I think that needs to be screwed in a little bit, but I think it'll make it.
Oh, come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lowly exile until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, come, thou rod of Jesse free, thine own from Satan's tyranny, and from the depths of hell thy people save, and give them victory o'er the grave. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, come, thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. was the path to misery. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, thou Lord of might, who to thy tribes on Sinai's heights in ancient times didst give the law. In cloud and majesty and awe, rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel.
Very good. So, thank you guys
Happy
for
Christmas.
being with us. We love you. God loves you. God bless. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news. Anything else is hit or miss, like we took 3 days off this week because I injured myself, because Roy Moore lost and we were depressed.
We had to recover.
Yeah, we had to eat some ice cream and watch some movies and popcorn and pizza and just feel better about ourselves and the world. But seriously, Roy Moore is still in the fight. He's contesting it.
I want him
I'm
to
strong.
sue for
I feel like
libel.
he's strong. Leah wants to sue for libel for him.
Dude, there are people posting things on Twitter that they bust people in. I reposted it. I don't know if it's true or not, but we saw that video that we played for you guys yesterday where a guy was like, "Oh, we came from all over the world for our boy Doug Jones." I'm like,
and we voted
all
That's
over
what
the
he said,
country.
and we cast our votes. And I'm like, you did what? You came from Ohio, because I didn't know that we could go and vote. So from Ohio, I would have gone down and voted.
And somebody said the military votes are in, and it might put them within a half a point, and then it's an automatic recount. So I'm holding out hope.
Oh, I love this from Tabitha. Tabitha Grove Dow says, the song that brought me, a pagan, to church was the song Your Great Name by Natalie Grant. Yes, even a pagan can feel the love and power of Christ in these moments.
Very interesting. We have a friend of ours. I almost said her name. She calls herself a pagan. She's really into Christmas and things like that. And I know that she feels. There are things that are unexplainable.
Right.
Put us back 200 years and you wouldn't be able to explain the internet to people.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to explain the television or telephones and how electromagnetic things go through the air.
Right.
Our own bodies we're actually electronic machines, kind of, in a way, you know, with electrons and neurons and things like that. And there's something that connects us. It's the whole avatar thing makes sense to me, which is why we are non-GMO people, why we believe in organics, and why we actually get along better with hippie-loving farmer people who put their... I don't get along well with liberals who are like Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren, because they believe in capitalism, they believe in crony capitalism, and they believe in stealing. They just believe in giving money to people for votes. That's the only difference. They're just so corrupt.
Yeah.
But there's something to feeling and touching the universe. And I think that when you find that, when you follow that feeling, you will see God.
Yes.
You know, and you'll feel it because you're like, this is beyond me.
Well, what I love about Christmas time is that, like, I shared I shared O Come, O Come, Emanuel, and it was just in it was just instrumental.
The language of the universe.
And you can't not sing Christmas music without singing about Jesus.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And everybody gets together and they sing, "What child is this? O Come, Emmanuel." And We Three Kings, you name it.
Even
Angels
the
We Have Heard
pagans.
on High. And they have to sing it. So you're in the grocery stores. If I got to listen to, you know, all these awful songs at the grocery store all year long, at least there is a time of the year where they play Jesus.
I know. I love it.
And I think it's absolutely
Everyone's saying
wonderful.
goodnight to everyone. You guys are awesome.
You guys are so beautiful. We have the best, I'm telling you, we have the best viewers out of any channel on YouTube. Hands down. Hands down. Our chat is like perfect. It's supportive.
Awesome.
You guys are really, even when you
friends.
Give a disagreeing opinion, it's usually very peaceful. So I want to say goodnight to our moderators. First one that's come to mind is Heather Going Batty.
Hello, everyone.
Going
Batty. We miss
Send our love
children.
to the whole family. Maia was here. Kelly was here. Worth a look. Gary.
We were butchering our pig, and I was just thinking about how helpful you all were. The Going Batty clan came and helped us. So.
Just this past summer, helped us butcher 2 pigs.
They're awesome.
Their whole family. I actually,
Their
Heather, if you're still here, I got out a piece of pork the other day, and it said, meat for humans, Max. And I love
the show to title it, so just title it Meat for Humans.
Meat for Humans. I loved that. Absolutely.
All right, so we'll see you guys Sunday at 1. We're going to do EU News. Send us your links if you guys are from overseas, things you want us to cover.
Remember, we have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. You can send us your letters, and we will read them on air. I'm expecting a few that haven't come yet from overseas, so we'll see how that goes.
Missed the chat when we were on InfoWars. I heard that was pretty...
Yeah.
We got one of our dear friends who doesn't really get a chance to watch all our videos. He watched us. He was a really close friend of ours.
And that's from Tracy. Tracy's still up late.
Oh. He watched the chat and he was worried for our lives.
Literally, one of our very
dearest
friends.
I don't think you should be on the internet anymore.
I don't think you guys should be doing Resistance Chicks just after seeing the chat on InfoWars. That's how unfortunate it was.
Haha, one dislike at the end. That's so funny.
I want to thank you guys for being here as viewers. Your comments were phenomenal throughout. So
my brother can disagree with me as long as he doesn't encumber me. He ain't heavy. He's my brother.
But leave your comments in the comment section after the video processes that you left in the chat today. We usually get between 1,000 and 1,500 comments in the chat.
Thank you, girls. Great shoe again. Mike the Stand says, yes, great shoe.
I love that. That's a beautiful...
I love what you guys stay to the end.
I love that you guys stay to the end as well. And we ended a little bit early tonight.
Typos make for the world go round. I love them. I love my own typos.
Well, second to Kent Hobbin. Huh. Wait, what did you say? Because I'm like, wait a minute. What did you say before that? Ange?
Did anybody go see?
This is the best channel on YouTube. Second to Kent Hobbin. I'll take that, man. I will take it. So if you guys didn't see the Genesis 3D movie that actually
even
had
though
a
we
second
don't go
showing,
around debating people, and I hope we never do because it just gets
Kent
ugly.
doesn't really. Eric does the debating. Kent doesn't do as much of the debating. But here's the deal.
What do you mean? Kent Hovind did all those debates.
I meant like right now, the current videos.
Right. But the old Kent Hovind, that's what he did. And
You're
he did it like masterfully. He's a genius.
Right.
And then he paid people. My opinion, the man had to go to jail, dude. And it's awful because he was paying people cash.
Don't even know what we're talking about.
He was paying. He's a great creationist guy, Kent Hovind. Just Google him. He's awesome. He's so awesome. I love the Hovinds.
So Peachy Chick says, as long as y'all are on, I'll watch for 5 minutes to 5 hours. I love it. Tallulah Lula, a.k.a. Tracy from the UK. Much love to you and Sean. We love trying to work out what Leah says when the camera goes off. She always speaks when the camera goes off. She speaks when I start. The intro also has a hot mic.
She doesn't like me to do the intro. She's always looking at me.
Here's the thing. Our dog's name is Sydney. We call her Bubby.
Bubby Pig.
For short. Don't ask where it comes from. And she gets off and she's like, hey, Bubby. It's you can't, I wouldn't say illegible, but incoherent.
You should, I don't know if you can take the camera on, just point it at Sydney so they can see her where she's, sometimes she's whiny. I don't know if I, where can I see it?
It's Sydney, right there.
Lying, and where's Jasper?
She's over
in the corner.
Oh, that's what she does throughout the whole time we're going live.
She wants to go
outside. She wants to go outside, or she wants a treat, or something.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know how that camera worked.
I don't know how it worked either, but oh well, it did good enough.
Did you see him?
You guys stick with us.
Joy Villa might run for Congress. Yes.
Otto.
Wish you could skip work to see these ladies. Just play us in an earbud.
Yeah, we have people that download us and take us with them, so we should make it.
Sometimes I miss you because my brother comes home and I stop the video chat with him about what
y'all think. I love it. That's fantastic.
200 million Muslims of the cost of Australia. Help us. We're trying to help you in Australia. We need to do some more because I like to do the Australian. Hey, mate. Good day, mate. And I gotta tell you, the Aussies, they don't really stand for much. Some of them, half of them do, and half of them don't. It's really weird.
Otto says, "Sorry, boss man. Resistance chicks are on." Just tell that to your boss. I'm sure it'll go over really well. No other channel. I need a seatbelt to watch.
Hang on your butts.
I'm gonna try. I had to get a new tire cover for my Jeep Wrangler, but I did have a bumper sticker on my tire cover that said "Buckle up, I want to try something." Kind of feel that way about Resistance.
That's what we do on Resistance Chicks. We buckle up, we want to try something, and we see how it goes. Sometimes it's a flip, and sometimes it's a flop.
You never know.
Sometimes.
I think people should hang on to the end. The ones that don't hang on to the end, you really miss out on the craziness, the slap happiness.
I do.
I don't know.
Self-employed, watch while working, and you know what? That's what we do. We play Alex
Barry's
Jones.
An engraver. He does beautiful, beautiful work. Barry is Britt Baza.
We watch YouTubes while we're doing work.
Yeah, we do. That's always. We wouldn't have time otherwise. We have to we do on dog walks, we take YouTube videos, we're looking on our phone, we're looking up research. So thank you for those of you that are in the UK staying up like Mike the Stand at 1 a.m. and Tracy and the rest of you. I think Jack's in the UK. I know all of you guys, almost all of you regulars, so I see you, I know who you are, and I appreciate the fact that you show up regularly and consistently and support us. One more song before you go, Cecilian Gal says.
I didn't practice anything.
You didn't practice anything. That's the only one we practiced.
You understand? It makes me nervous. Things
I want to do, but I want to do that one. We'll have to practice. That's not the same.
I don't remember
one.
How that one
That's
goes.
Not the same song I'm thinking.
Hey,
of.
Kansas, come and say hi.
Kansas,
there's people still hanging out. We're shutting down the show.
Party's over. We're shutting down.
You know what? Oh my gosh, he's here. This is perfect.
What are we gonna do?
Well, he does a really good. What was it? Jingle Bells that we sang. He does everything good. Can you get his head in?
Hang
on. You know, you don't want to oversell. You know the product here.
What's a good song we were singing? He sings so good.
Hang on, I'll back up the camera. You have hot hair. He's been out working outside.
It's cold.
Baby,
do you have a favorite Christmas song? Do you have a favorite one?
Well, I'm not thinking of one.
I know. It's hard when you put. I know when you put somebody on the spot, it's really hard. What was it that we sang? See, we used to sit by the fire and we sang a bunch of Christmas songs.
Put this down.
And I thought we could end on a fun one. Let's just do Jingle Balls. Like
we did that the other day, and you didn't want to do it.
I know, but with chords and with Kansas, because he has this deep voice. Now, let me see if I have on the right key here. It should be easy.
You can back up in your own room.
Dashing through the snow. Are we ready? That's good. That's a good key.
I'm gonna put this one here.
I think that's good. You know these words, right? Because you sang them with me before.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, I know, maybe,
I'm just
maybe
waiting to play off of whatever you're gonna go with here.
not going to go
are
down.
fun. The verses
is
are
it?
just fun.
Sydney's now eating her bowl of food right by the base of the camera.
And you have to be in charge of, I don't know if we're going to do them all, but you have to, actually, it's going to be difficult because the words and the chords don't actually go up and down. We'll see what we can do here. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bride was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank, misfortune sent his lot. He got into a drifted bank and only got upside. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Oh, we have a lot of fun.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. I don't know if I can do the next one because the chords are like, let's see.
You want me to bring them up over here?
A day or two ago.
Did we do that one?
The next one's down here. A story I must tell. I went into the snow, and on my back I fell. The bells. Wait, no. Sorry, we can come down here. Sorry. A gent was riding by in a one-horse open sleigh. He laughed.
There you go, Maddie.
He laughed as there I sprawling lie, but quickly drove away.
What is that?
I don't know. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Oh, we have a lot of fun.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Now, I have another one right here, Leah. Can you see these lyrics right there? Well, if you move that, it's going to be right in front of the camera. I'll have to put it down.
Oh, okay.
Then all they're going to hear is the guitar, but that's all right.
Okay, you sing, right? Now the ground is wide, go it while you're young. Take the girls tonight and sing a sleighing song. Get a bobtail bay, 240 as his speed. Hitch him to an open sleigh and crack, he'll take the lead. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Oh, we have a lot of fun.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Let's sing the verse one more time. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha! Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Everybody! Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Yay! Kansas always brings us in the bass. Oh, thank you, Maddie, for being here. His name is Matthew. We call him Kansas, and then I call him Maddie. He's got like a million different names.
What's his name?
All right, so there you go. That's your encore.
We lost a few people on that one.
That's all right. You know what?
Hey, that's because it's like when you
It's
have
our
like
show.
500 endings.
I love that the camera's completely discombobulated now. That's all right. It's different angles. It's like a movie. It's different.
All
right. Okay, so dress Kansas up as Santa. He's not fat enough. We would need a massive amount of stuffing. What you may not know about Kansas is he's 0% body fat and eats whatever he wants.
I don't know. He might beg to differ. He's put on a few percents.
Like 1. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
All right, just don't call him late for dinner. I like it. Okay, so now we're really going to sign off.
He's looking at that potato soup like, is this all?
No, it's not ready. I got to sign off so I can get the dude some potato soup. It's almost
hungry.
finished.
That's some dog food. It smells like
Dude,
people
eat the
food.
dog food.
Show him the dog food.
No,
you know, just for fun.
dog food.
For kicks. Show him that wet dog food. So, while you're here for fun, I like to do fun things, like how I cut the arms off my jacket for you all yesterday. This is funny. So I ordered some dog food online. It didn't come because somehow the thing got broken, and I was like, down to dog food. I don't want to pay full price for dog food. And she was like, go get some dog food. So my dogs, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat them to something special. So this was 50% off, which was the only time I'm ever going to be afforded.
Because it's $30 for that little bag.
For 5 pounds. But when you open it, it was hilarious. Is it?
I can't.
It smells like summer sausage. It smells like people food.
You know, not lovely.
It's like raisins in here. Like, look, there's real raisins in there.
Really?
Really? Or cranberries. They're cranberries.
Yeah, because dogs aren't supposed to have raisins or grapes.
Right, don't feed your dog raisins and grapes. They were cranberries. I guess they're okay. This needs to go back in the refrigerator.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
that's funny.
Now it's going to be right in the camera.
I'm okay. All right. Good night. Have a great evening, guys.
I hate to leave you
every time.
We can't smell it, Leah. Good thing, because it's not right.
It's real weird. It smells like people food.
What was that, hillbilly? It's real weird.
It's real weird, man.
Real weird, man.
It smells like humans should eat it. And you know what? For $30 for 5 pounds of food, a human should be able to eat it.
Okay. We're signing off for real now. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Do not forget, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
Good night, guys. We'll see you back Sunday.
They want a little bit more of their people.
Please, I want some more.
I was called